So Lloyd makes $200,000 a year. He's on baby step 2 of Dave Ramsey's program. He has about $100,000 in consumer debt, 2 cars, some credit cards, and some personal loans, and a $4,500 mortgage. But here's the thing. His income, it isn't like a clean $200,000. His base is about $8,000 a month. But then he get bonuses upwards of $14,000 per quarter. So you can imagine that's like huge swings each quarter or month over month. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Oh, yeah. And he had a baby last year, and they're having a baby this year. So by the time they imagine a year from now, Lloyd is about to have 2 kids under 2. There are real practical things to fix here. And of course, Dave talks about that. He's right now over withholding, I think, like $7,000 on his taxes, so in his income. So that's a thing. So he's doing that intentionally, so he get a check in April. Like, we're in tax season now, so we know what that feels like. So Lloyd isn't clueless. He's just a husband and a dad wanting to fix a financial situation that he's in. I mean, the reality is he's trying. He's doing the steps. Then he called in for help. But here's the thing I wanted to harp on this episode of Same Problem, Different Path. This guy is about to have 2 kids under 2 and trying to fix the finances in the midst of that chaos. And I want everybody just to sit there for a second. I've had 2 under 2, and it's a crazy world. You got sleep deprivation, you got the random medical bills, the childcare costs, the budgets, all that stuff, and then the emotional weight of trying to like hold your household together while you're exhausted and tired. And Dave said to this guy, we need to throw a dynamite in the middle of it. No eating out, no vacation. We need radical cuts. We need to shock the system. Now, again, I understand the math. And again, the math Dave is doing is real. But the math doesn't account for what it actually feels like to be this house right now. He's already in chaos. Why does he need more chaos? And I get that. And even with the idea about dynamite, it does create a lot of energy very, very, very fast. And then it's done. And then now you're standing there in whatever chaos is left, trying to figure out what's next. And I've talked on a couple of previous episodes about this, but sometimes urgency is often just anxiety dressed up as a plan. You get fired up, you cut everything, you go hard for, let's say, 3 weeks, and then one thing breaks. Let's say the bonus is less than he expects. Let's say one of the kids get an ear infection. Let's say you're on the I'm not eating out kick, and then one Thursday you go and grab Chick-fil-A because nobody slept and nobody was able to cook. And then you feel like you failed. And that feeling of failure, it's even heavier than the actual debt that you're trying to fix was. Because now you're not just behind financially, you're behind and you believe you can't do it. That's the loop that we're trying to break. Talk Sense, we start with a different question. Not how do we cut everything, Lloyd, like do all that stuff. You got 2 kids. The question is, what's actually sustainable for where you are right now? Because Lloyd isn't the beginning of like a calm financial, I'm ready to go journey. Lloyd is in the middle of one of the most demanding seasons of his life. And I've been there, having a new baby, another one coming. And then you have income that's swinging wildly quarter to quarter, a mortgage that might be above his means. And that makes sense. We need to address that. That is a nervous system that's under pressure. And when your nervous system is under pressure, the brain doesn't want to plan long term. It's trying to survive just today. So instead of dynamite, we'd help Lloyd build a floor, something simple and steady that doesn't depend on willpower or extreme sacrifice or perfect execution, because he's already doing that with these kids. Maybe that starts with one simple thing, right? Fix the over withholding. Get that $600 back a month from the taxes. So just go to do your W-4, W-2, whatever it's called, and fix that. That's not radical. That's just sensible. And that's a win he can feel right now without having to blow up his life. And I want to be fair. Dave did call that out. And he's not wrong about calling that out, because he also called out the cars are a problem. The spending has to change. The debt is real. And like I said, Dave framework has genuinely helped a lot of people who are ready to be radical. And I think people call Dave thinking that they're actually ready to be radical, but ready is doing a lot of work in that sentence. If Lloyd is ready, and let's say we define ready as truly regulated, clear-headed, bought in with his wife, and they have a plan that accounts for 2 babies, then go ahead, Lloyd, do your thing, man. I mean, go and do Dave's. But most people are kind of like Lloyd. They're exhausted. They're running on potentially inconsistent income. They're trying to hold a growing family together. And then they call in thinking they're ready and someone tells them, let's shock the system. That isn't a plan. It's a pressure spike. And pressure spikes don't create change. They create crashes. So here's the question I want to leave with you. If you've ever made a financial plan that was, let's say, aggressive enough to feel real, and then life happened and it fell apart, I want you to ask yourself, was the plan too big, or was the season that I was in, was that too hard? Because there's a big difference. A plan that works on paper but doesn't account for your actual life isn't a good plan. It's just a good spreadsheet. It's just a good system. Lloyd doesn't need more pressure. Lloyd doesn't need a good spreadsheet. Lloyd needs a plan that holds even on the hard weeks. And that's what Toxins is about. We'll see you next week with the same problem, different path. And again, remember, like I always say, talk first, and then we get to the tools. Tools later is what I say. All right, have a good rest of your day.
Same problem, different path. Let's slow it down and do the math. Not the numbers, the feeling beneath. Same problem, different path. You're not behind, you're right on time. Ooh.